everyone. Very warm welcome to second day. Sadhguru Sri Ji Jai. What to say, what to say. Okay, who has a question? Krista, who also follows Furious. Follows Furious? Hello, Krista. I don't know why you follow Furious, but I'm just kidding. Welcome, welcome. Guruji. Autocorrect. So Guruji autocorrect to Furious? That doesn't sound right at all. I'm just kidding. It's okay. No questions? Irhad says, beloveds, if you can, in your free time, please say a prayer for my dear friend Alex, who is undergoing cancer treatment currently. All love and blessings to Alex. Shweta says, Guruji, I have a doubt. Is witnessing also a phenomenon? Is witnessing also a phenomenon? So that is why I clarify often that usually in the world when we talk about witnessing, we are talking about perception. And perception is the process of consciousness using attention to bring phenomenal content to itself. So this part of the play, if this is what you mean by witnessing, then this part of the play is also phenomenal because it relies on your existence and the availability of attention. So this part, if you mean. But what is it that is aware of this? What is aware of your presence, this being? What is aware of attention itself? So this witness, capital W witness, is not phenomenal. This is that which witnesses the coming and going of all the states, the coming and going ultimately of I am itself, of consciousness itself. This is the eternal witness, the Sakshi. So usually in satsang, when we are saying witness, we are talking about this primal witness, primordial witness. So that which witnesses perception, can that be perceived? And yet, in spite of it being non-phenomenal, it is not just a concept. This is the only discovery like this. It's your direct insight about yourself, and yet it is non-phenomenal, and you are not making it up. You are it. That's why it's a beautiful, holy inquiry. What witnesses perception? Maybe we can take a minute to take you through this. If one by one, all the senses were leaving us, sight has left us, hearing has left us, taste has left us, touch has left us, smell has left us, all the senses have left. Suppose all of these seemingly inner objects, thoughts, memories, imagination, all of this also is gone. Emotion, sensation, pain, pleasure, also gone. You continue to exist. Now, this existence, who witnesses this? What is aware of this? And you will notice that this one is independent of all perception, all senses, and even inner perception. This is what we call the intuitive insight, because it is beyond just the regular perception. From this space, a sage like Ashtavakra says, you are the one solitary witness of all there is. And just before that, he said, you are not earth, water, fire, or air. You are not even the space in which they happen. All phenomena you are not. And yet you are the one solitary witness of all there is. Therefore, you must be something which is beyond phenomena. And if you are beyond phenomena, then you witness that all phenomena is a coming and going, is an appearance and disappearance. That is why it is called appearance, because it appears and it disappears. Reality does not appear and disappear. Therefore, reality is not phenomenal. So I'm happy you asked this question because many are confusing this witness of the Ashtavakra with the perception, which is the uh, functioning of consciousness, using the power of attention to bring objects to life in a way. Then you ask, so is the witness self-aware, aware of itself, witnessing all other phenomena and of its own existence too? Yes, because if it wasn't, then we would not never be able to say, I am aware. Then awareness would be an unknown notion. So not only is the self-aware, even if in its dynamic play as consciousness, it comes to the recognition of this awareness. So if its dynamic play is coming to this recognition, if in the inquiry, if in the neti neti, not this, you coming to the recognition of this, you see, then you that is coming to the recognition of this is also just an aspect of awareness. Then how can it be that an aspect can come to this recognition, but the whole never had it? Some of these things I know might seem a bit confusing right now, but it's simpler than what we might think it is. It's completely, in fact, it is the all knowing, it is knowingness itself. Then how would it not know this basic fundamental truth about itself? But it doesn't know it in a conceptual way. It doesn't need to know it in a perceptual way. All of this is part of the phenomenal aspect. Consciousness, which is played with this knowledge conceptually, experientially, as objects of perception. Now it is going beyond all that. That's why this is so unique, you see. Here there is no experience on offer. That is why it is unique. And yet it is a non-phenomenal experience. So the mind, there is no such thing as a non-phenomenal experience because experience itself means phenomenon. But to you are recognizing this as you are emptying yourself of all conditions, all that is false about yourself. You will see that all of these insights are self-evident. So you don't have to force them. Very good. I'm very happy with this. Just continue to not fill the blank I am dash with anything in that dash, and you will find that all of these insights become clearer and clearer. Just inquiry must be done in a very natural, playful way. Okay? I feel like too many are doing inquiry, which is like just easier, easy, natural. Who am I? Am I this body? Just like that. Who am I? Am I the body? Oh. Sincerely, who am I? Am I something that is changing? And if I am the changing, then what would witness this change? Is that itself changing? Just like the simple one or two questions like this, and allow the questions to do the work themselves. The main part of the inquiry is not to get in the way, just allow it to unfold. The question, who am I, is so potent that it doesn't need any other support. And what can seemingly obstruct it is our conclusion. So if you're reaching a conclusion, then drop it. You will reach a non-conclusion, the no thing, you see, as your intuitive insight, and you will struggle to verbalize it. You see, till your intuition itself puts the words in your mouth, and then they are coming from a space of your true seeing. I know that this inconclusiveness can seem a bit frustrating for some time, because in this world we've been taught that you must know things. If you don't know, then you're dumb or something. But it's not true. You will not know who you are conceptually. You will not know who you are as a phenomenon. You will see that you have always known who you are. I don't say these words with the intent of making them sound confusing. In fact, if there is intent here, it is only to make it sound very simple. But as I hear them, I know that many times they can sound like a bit of a riddle. That is the that is the play of trying to share this non-phenomenal truths in a phenomenal way. Good. Yes. You don't believe your next thought helps me a lot. I feel that's more than enough. Yes. Otherwise, it all gets very confusing to me. Whatever works to help you keep that I am something empty of that something is good enough. Katya says, I am Katya, father. Katya, yes. Father, there is still fear to show myself. I watch Satsang with Nitya and sometimes alone, but I still like to hide myself. That's why I'm writing here. But I'm seeing you every day. Every day. She laughs the best at my jokes, so that's why I like to see her often during satsangs. You're very welcome here, my dear. And I know sometimes this fear of hiding and not showing yourself, these things can play out. But these will not last. We will outlast them, yes? We will outlast. Something Vidya had said earlier. Vidya said, "In reading your book, can you stop being? It's like reading one of the Gitas." Oh, thank you, so sweet. Yeah, I've been reading your book, Can You Stop Being? It's like reading one of the Gitas. Could you read and elaborate on that, perhaps? It'd be a bit strange. Maybe one of you should do that, actually. It'd be a bit strange. Ananta doing commentary on Ananta Satsang. It'll be unique. But we can look at some parts if you like, some passages which you feel could need some elaboration. I'd be happy to do that. You said in your book that if you just do this one thing, not believe your next thought, everything else will be taken care of. Everything will reveal itself to you. It cannot hide, you say. Is it really enough, Guruji? Yes. Let's start now. In this moment, before going to your next thought, you are not confused about who you are. How and why is that? It is not your natural state to not know who you are. It is like you were auditioning for a play, but you got so involved in it that it is the character which is now, the play character which is now trying to find its own source. You see? What has happened is that the audition became so sticky that it left this mind to remind you of your dream character. So if you just keep that aside for some time, not with a sense of aversion or pushing it aside, it is not don't believe your next thought with a sense of fear, no, 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 I must run from my thoughts or something. Just in a simple, natural openness. Just allow them to come and go. Don't pick up a notion about yourself because all notions are limitations. You are here effortlessly and you are aware of this existence effortlessly. A thought is a step, an offer to take a step somewhere, an offer to take a position, to make a reference point about yourself. Before you take this offer, where are you? You are here. As what? Thoughts do not have answers to these. Even if it claims it does, those answers are not true. But your insight is true. That is why it's very simple. I used to say very often, almost every day, that there are three main pointings. To be rid of suffering, because suffering is a limited, is the play of the limited self. And the only limitation can happen when you pick up a limited notion about yourself. So to be rid of suffering, all that one has to do, if it is a doing at all, actually it is a non-doing. All that one has to do is not believe your next thought. And many have said that, ah, yes, I cannot suffer unless I believe what this mind is telling me. It always has to do with this limited notion about myself. Then you might ask me, okay, this is fine. I'm not suffering anymore. But what about God? Can you show me God? And then I would say, yes, I can show you God if you just try for one moment to stop being, don't exist for one instant. You will see that this existence is here, and this existence doesn't have any boundary, doesn't have a definition, doesn't have shape or size. I exist. I am. This existence is consciousness, what most people call God. Then you might ask me, but what about that which is the absolute? There's this old Sufi story about higher than God, I am. What is this? And mostly there will come a disbelief when I tell you that to come to this highest, all you have to do is inquire into this simple question: am I aware now? This I that is aware, which one is this one? Now the questions are very simple, but if we allow the same old techniques to hijack them, which is trying to answer them conceptually or use some prior knowledge, even what you learned in previous satsang, if you try to apply that, it won't work. It must be completely fresh, like an infant child. You cannot use these questions from a position. I know actually that many have also tried don't believe your next thought from a personal position and reported back to me and said, it doesn't work. Because you're trying to solve something personally and you're trying to use this master key to open that lock. It's not a personal strategy. It will not help. It's not a cheat code to having a prosperous life or something like that. It is more pristine than that. So completely empty of all positions, all notions. Ask yourself, am I aware now? How you say yes? It's pristine. It's pristine. How you say yes. It's just that your mind won't agree with how pristine it is. Why is it pristine? Because if I ask you, is there a computer in front of you? You have to perceive it as an object. Then you say yes. All objects are perceived in this way. But this awareness you don't perceive as an object, and yet you say yes. You don't have to use the concept I am awareness to say yes. You have not had a taste of awareness as if it is a phenomena, and still you say yes. What is the basis of that yes? It is not conceptual, it is not perceptual, it is not emotional. It is something much deeper than that. And don't give this insight over to the mind, because the mind will come like a jealous friend. You're trying to tell them about your wonderful vacation. And you say, yeah, yeah, I did that 5 years ago. And also, by the way, I also did this. Did you do that? It will try to find reasons for why you are not there yet. So don't go to the mind for the freedom certificate. Just see that you are aware of your very existence. Which one is this one? Good, good, good. Father, when I interact with my 29-year-old daughter regarding trouble with boyfriend, I feel like I'm talking to her within the play of her drama. And yet sometimes insight will come for her and I say profound things. Yes, I am in this play, so it confuses me how to interact with her like this. It's fine because naturally some things will come. The parental role can continue to be played with his body or not. In this life, it continues to play. And mostly those in the Sangha also, it continues to play. You see? So we don't necessarily have to become all Advaita in everything that we say. You know, life is moving. Even the words are being put there by this higher force. And this higher force knows exactly how to play parent, child, boss, employee, all the roles that need to be played can happen in their own natural way. Like this is okay. I feel like I'm talking to her within the play of her drama. Yet sometimes insight will come for her and I say profound things, yes. And it arises naturally like this, then it's very good. I'm in this play, so it confuses me how to interact with her. This, how to, we can drop. Because when we pick up this idea, how do I do this? Then we are picking up again the limited notion about ourselves. God does not need a how to guide as to how to run this life. So anytime the question comes how to, then we must be referring to this play of consciousness as a play of something individual. So we are speaking like this, and yet if you ask me some practical questions, in fact, your daughter is 29, so maybe I should be asking you, how do I deal with my children who are a bit younger? So that's a bit different. So I'm not trying to create any level confusion. I'm just saying that from what you are saying, what we are talking about in Satsang, you'll notice that all these words are coming on their own. Just like these words in Satsang come, then same way the interaction with other roles, other facets of this life can happen very naturally. How many of you are confused about or not completely clear about what I mean when I say it's all about dropping the something? I am something. It's all about dropping this something or not picking up this something. And it becomes apparent when this I am remains empty of this something. The truth is so apparent. Is this clear to you? Because this is very, very direct and straightforward. No? So, this I, that is the primal witness that we spoke about, that is the unchanging. Now, what happens? What is suffering? What is, can you have suffering in your dreamless sleep? You can't have suffering in your dreamless sleep. So, first, what needs to be there for you to suffer? Yeah. Before thought, can a thought come unless you are there? I should be there, but I as now this consciousness, you must exist. So you cannot have a thought in your sleep state. You cannot have any phenomenal taste in your sleep state. In fact, it is the appearance of this sense that I exist, which is the basis for all of this. So let's call this I am. Okay? In the and don't worry if this has been your direct insight or not. For 2 minutes, just take my word for it. In the moment of your waking up, there is just I am. Before even time and space, it's just I am. Then all this play of time and space, all of this starts. Now, if this I am, existence, presence, consciousness, were just left as I am, would you suffer? Therefore, you must attach something. I am employee, I am mother, I am father. Something must be put in that box for you to suffer. Isn't it? Now, how does this something get put in the box? Right now, you are empty of something. Now, if you had to put it in the box, in the blank, then what would you have to do? Right now, you're in a safe environment. Try to pick up something. Can you do it without a thought arising? So first, a thought has to arise. Then there must be, just with the arising of the thought, is there something there? Okay? Because many thoughts, they come and go. All the time, thought can come. You see? But I am plays as something when it gives its yes to the thought. It gives its assent. It gives its belief to the thought. Yes, this is true about me. I am a good spiritual seeker. Suppose the thought came like that. If it was just coming and going, no truth value given, no assent given, nothing. It doesn't get attached. But the minute we latch onto it, as Guruji would say, log in. We log into it, then it becomes I am this way, good spiritual seeker, or a bad spiritual seeker, something. You see? Now, if you attach to the concept I am a good spiritual seeker, and somebody tells you, Rama, not happening for you. What's happening? You're not a good spirit. You feel attacked. Or somebody who is not in satsang, they're only interested in building a building or something like that. You say you're not a good spiritual seeker. I don't care. So it is these concepts that we have about ourselves that become the root of our suffering. So to be free from suffering, we come to this unassociated I am. What is the way to come to this unassociated I am? Two ways, which are usually prescribed on this path, which are self-inquiry or surrender. Surrender means what? Whatever that something offer might be coming from the mind, just let it go. Let go. Don't believe your next thought. Let go means it's my father's problem. It's Guruji's problem. It's Sadhguru's problem. Yes. So I am blank remains blank. Cannot suffer. In this emptiness of something, who are you is very apparent. You don't have a concept for it. Now some say that it doesn't come naturally for me to surrender. I cannot just let things go. I have to make these things a thing. So these days I've been saying, my favorite teaching now today is don't make anything a thing. Which means like that, the same thing. Don't put something into that box. Some say that it's not natural for me to surrender. I say, I'm more of the inquisitive type. I have to ask, why, what's going on? So for them, it is prescribed that you better do the inquiry. Because the letting go doesn't seem to be easy. Then you inquire. You say, when the thought comes, I am not a good spiritual seeker. Then you ask yourself, who is the I which is not the seeker? Is the body the seeker? Is the thought a seeker? Is an emotion a seeker? Who is the seeker? Then you will see that it's a mythical notion, it's a mythical concept. It is not true. Therefore, then again, this something does not get attached to I am, and we remain empty of that. As long as we remain empty of that, then nothing, no matter what is happening, we cannot suffer in this play. For us to suffer, there must be a notion of limitation that we have picked up about ourselves. That's why most of spirituality, if not all, is about how to be empty of this something. That's why when I say remain open, don't take a position, don't give yourself a reference point, don't go with your mind's offer, don't believe your next thought, let go, forget about it. All of this means same thing. Don't give yourself that something position. Simple. So once this is understood, then all that we'll find is that some two, three main something still seem to be sticky. And they just come and the habit is to grab onto that. So when we come to satsang, you will find naturally that that is getting lighter and lighter. And if they're really sticky, then we can really put them in the inquiry and say, oh, till that particular something becomes laughable, we can inquire into it. If we are not of the inquiring temperament, then we can just surrender it to the law, to Guruji. But either way, it is not something that you pick up as a notion about yourself. So then if both of these seem too alien, surrender or self-inquiry, then other paths are there. Practice something, chant a mantra, practice mindfulness, do meditation, do vipassana, do various other things to keep yourself empty of this something notion. But ultimately, at the end, all spirituality will come to this truth: I am. This Atma, this consciousness, empty of the notion of a limited Atma, Jivatma, egoistic, individualistic idea, notion of yourself that I am something. And this is raw. No matter which path you follow, which practice you do, it is all about this. Now, that is what I've been saying, that even in spirituality, because our habit is to pick up something, then even the spiritual concepts we can pick up. So like we can hear in Satsang, I am awareness. So we can just pick it up as a concept and put it there. I am yes, I have found the master key to life. I am awareness. So anyone says something, what would you like for lunch? I am awareness. That becomes the manifestation of the spiritual ego. So we remain empty of even spiritual concepts. We use all spiritual concepts just as thorns to remove other thorns. Okay? So in this way, whatever is the easy, actually this is the pathless path, because you know the good news. The good news is that right now you are empty of that something. It's just that we got used to buying from the salesman who's been selling us fake goods for so long that now we are learning how to say no. Not even no, just move on, move along. That's all that's happening. That is the meaning of when the Zen masters have said, let all thoughts come and go, don't serve them tea. Same thing. Don't pick up that something and attach it to yourself. I feel like this, in this very simple way, you can get to the root of it. The root of it. Otherwise, I know that many times words of satsang can seem contradictory. We don't know this way or that way. All of satsang is basically an attempt. So if your something is of this type, then what you'll hear in satsang is the opposite type. So we can empty you of that something. If it is of the opposite type, then we have to say, if you're going too much right, right, left, 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 I'd say come right, right, right. If you're going too much right, 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 I'll say come left, 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 left. See? So the point of concepts is not that you will learn something. Actually, it is to unlearn everything. In satsang, the point of concepts is just that. That is why. Father, I remember that you read someday, I am neither associated nor associated being. Not that it bothers me, just placing a thought. The ultimate is not. Even the being is passing for that moment. Beware of well-dressed thoughts. The bud of the flower, the flower bud, might also feel like when the change comes and it is transforming, it's opening up, it might feel like it is dying. All my petals are just opening, they might just fall off, I might die. This resistance to opening up is like that. You don't know what is happening. That is why sometimes it is said that the devotees have the easiest time of it. Because they feel like whatever it is, it's the master's problem. Come to your notionless existence. And see that these words are just from your own inner insight. Nisargadatta Maharaj was a seller of small cigarettes called BDs. No education, no Advaitic background, did not go to any school. Just in his unfolding, he saw that it is so clear. Then his words, this uneducated BD seller, his words have become the revered scripture almost, you can say. His advantage was maybe that he didn't know. And he continued not to know. From that not knowing, you can speak of the true knowingness, capital K. If there's a claimant to this knowingness, then you know that it has become mental. It has become a position. Empty of one to know. Only the knowingness is. There is nobody who decided to be aware. There is nobody who suddenly has become aware. This awareness that we speak of is prior to all of this, all that can change. Yes, yes, Nitya, thank you, my dear, for reminding us. His beloved Sadhguru Papaji's birthday today. Let's all bow down at his holy feet. Thank you for being such a beautiful son of Bhagwan Sri Ramana Maharishi. And thank you for giving us your most pristine, beautiful son, Sadhguru Sri Mujiji. So, so grateful for this play of consciousness. Papaji sent a message.
He says thanks.
If you aren't tired today, if you are, please leave it, not so important. Can you talk about the importance, if there is any, of the bhajans and chants? Bhajan is actually an invocation, and it is a choiceless invocation almost, in the sense that the one who calls, something arises in their heart, and the call arises. And the one that responds has also no option. So that aspect of consciousness, and maybe I can share more about what all these aspects and are they real or not real on some other day. But that aspect of consciousness which is being invoked with no expectation, with no phenomenal gain in mind, just out of this beautiful space of devotion. And whether you are invoking Krishna or Jesus, it doesn't matter. That aspect of consciousness serves your presence. So this invocation that we call bhajan is a beautiful part of the play. There's a sweet part of the play that is still enjoyed here very much. It is this singing with very bad singing, usually from here it water rises, but with full love, and to enjoy that taste of consciousness that we might call whatever name that we might give to it. Just like invoking the holy presence of Guruji, invoking the holy presence of Bhagwan, invoking the holy presence of Papaji, you can taste their flavor, isn't it? You can taste their presence. The same way it is with anything that you have true devotion in your heart for. So besides the joy of the singing and the beautiful words and the tune, melody, all of these things, truly bhajans are an invocation from the heart to that aspect of the formless one which appears in these most beautiful forms. And just like the master is an appearance of this aspect of consciousness which is so empty of concepts about himself or herself. And we invoke the beautiful presence of the master. They are there, always there, but even their flavor becomes apparent. So it's nice, it's very beautiful. And whatever your starting temperament might be, you will find that as true knowledge dawns, then true devotion is a byproduct of that. And as true devotion flowers, you will find that all these beautiful insights, true knowledge, also appears like the Nisargadatta Maharaj example. All he had was his devotion to his master, and yet he spoke right from the place of the Absolute. There are many, many, many rivers which lead to the same ocean. In the same way, all paths lead to yourself. Because the self is always there. Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadhguru Shri Modi Ji ki Jai.
Sadhguru Shri Ananta Ji ki Jai.
Sadhguru Shri Papa Ji ki Jai. Sadhguru Shri Modi Ji ki Jai.
Sadhguru Shri Ananta Ji ki Jai.